Are you getting frustrated with what to feed a teenager who's always hungry? Everybody knows that teenagers have a huge appetite. It seems like you need to feed them constantly to satisfy their hunger. It's even more difficult where teenagers who struggle with their weight truly want to make changes, like cut down on junk food or stop overeating, and they can't. There's frustration, isolation, stress, and that's why I decided to create a recipe collection of 30 easy and healthy meals for teenagers. They're all high in protein to satisfy your teenager's hunger, and they can all be ready in less than 30 minutes. If you want to grab a free copy, go to lifestyleforteens.com/recipes.
This is the Lifestyle and Weight Loss for Teens podcast. If you're a mom and want to help your child who is struggling to lose weight, you are in the right place. If you are looking for healthy lifestyle tips, Dr. Gourgari is here to help you understand the science around safe weight loss in teens and children. Because what works for adult weight loss is not always the best for children. This podcast is for educational purposes only. Dr. Gourgari does not provide medical, psychological, or nutrition therapy advice. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat any health problems without consulting your own medical practitioner. And now, your host, Dr. Jenny Gourgari.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Lifestyle and Weight Loss for Teens podcast. This is Dr. Jenny Gourgari, and on today's episode, I decided to talk a little bit about the big problem of having extra weight in teenagers in terms of their liver function. So just to give you a little bit of background, liver is a major organ in the body where it's supposed to clean the body from all the toxins. And if the liver does not work very well, which we know sometimes happens in older people when they have liver cirrhosis from hepatitis or from drinking too much alcohol and things like that, it can, and these people can be very sick and end up in the hospital and the intensive care. There is another group of liver condition that actually can develop into liver failure and liver cirrhosis that starts from fatty liver. So what is fatty liver? Fatty liver is when there is excess body fat, then part of this body fat goes and sits on top of the liver. So when that happens, there is like inflammation in the liver, and this inflammation is not good. And we're not talking about inflammation that only happens for 2 or 3 days and it's not a big deal because you took some antibiotics or your liver was a little bit stressed because of that. I'm talking about chronic inflammation when there is fat on top of the liver that sits there for many years. And if nothing happens, the liver can become stiff. I don't know if you ever seen the liver from animals. There is like a soft consistency in the liver. It's a soft organ. But if there is chronic inflammation, then instead of having this soft consistency, the liver becomes very stiff. We call this a liver fibrosis, and eventually can lead to liver cirrhosis. Obviously, this happens throughout many years, right? It's extremely rare to see this condition in teenagers because of fat deposition. However, what is common in teenagers is these early stages of liver inflammation and liver consistency that becomes to be abnormal. And you will not know about it unless you actually did specific tests. So there was a great study that was recently published in the Journal of Obesity just recently in 2025. The actual title of this study is Association Between Excessive Screen Time and Steatotic Liver Disease in Adolescents. When we're talking about steatotic liver disease, what we mean is what I explained, that there is a lot of fat around the liver, and that can create the first stages of liver inflammations. So what the researchers did is they examined 713 subjects between the ages of 12 to 17 years old. So they collected data about what was their height, what was their weight, what they were eating, what was their liver health, what was their enzymes, what was their family history. And then they also looked to see how much screen time these kids watched, not while they were at school. This was screen time outside school. And then they also looked at the liver with a very specific method that you need a dedicated organ to figure and examine this, but basically they measured what is called transient elastography method, and they used liver ptosis definition based on these measurements from this technique that they did. And then what they found was that kids that have excessive screen time, which means more than 5 hours per day, were at higher risk to get liver steatosis, or this fat deposition and liver inflammation. So there was an association. So kids that were having more than 5 hours screen time, and by screen time, TV, video games, and things like that, they were more likely to have liver steatosis. Now, then they tried to examine what is this relationship? Why does this happen? And what they found was that this was partially caused by the fact that those kids that watched more than 5 hours, they also had a higher body mass index. If you don't know what body mass index is, I invite you to go and listen to episode 1 of this podcast, where I go into more details to figure out what is a healthy BMI and how to calculate it for a specific teenager. What this research shows is that the importance of cutting back on screen time as a method to improve the BMI, because there is like an association, and other studies have shown that decreasing screen time can decrease the body mass index. It's more likely that the kids that don't watch a lot of video games and electronics and social media and all that stuff, they have better chances to get into a healthier weight. And based on this study, one would hypothesize that the risk of their liver inflammation could go lower. Now, that's a different study that maybe somebody can do in the future, but it was really striking to find out that kids that watch more than 5 hours, that spend more than 5 hours on screen time, are at higher risk to have liver inflammation. So you may feel nothing, you may know nothing about the health of your liver, but I wanted to take this opportunity and ask you to re-examine how much time are you spending on screen time every day. And my second question, is there something you can do to cut that and limit that screen time? I have discussed before the mechanisms by which screen time can affect the body mass index, and one of this is it can disrupt the cycle of sleep. Like people that have a lot of screen time, they have difficulty sleeping. It can disrupt the physical activity, because people that are on screen time, they don't go to exercise. It can disrupt the eating habits, because people that are exposed to all this advertising of unhealthy food are more likely to eat unhealthy food, and can also cause stress and anxiety when the kids are exposed to all these unhealthy messages about what is healthy and what is not healthy. And therefore, there are multiple implications of how screen time can affect a kid's risk to be in a healthy or unhealthy BMI, and therefore a kid's risk to have a healthy liver or unhealthy liver. So that's all I had for you for today. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to go to my website, lifestyleforteens.com, and look on free resources to get more free help. Take care.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, I invite you to come check out the LIFT program. It's Dr. Gourgari's 12-week coaching program for teens and their moms, where we take all this information, we apply it to your daily life, and we work together so your teenager learns how to create a healthy lifestyle so they can feel happier, more confident, less stressed, and love their body again. Visit the website at lifestyleforteens.com and click on the Work With Me and free resources to learn more about this program and get free help to start this journey right away. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Lifestyle and Weight Loss for Teens.